people think the middle class is disappearing because of inflation, bad luck, or a rigged system. Warren Buffett sees something different. He believes the real danger isn't low income or high prices. It's ignorance. Not stupidity, not laziness, ignorance. The kind that comes from never being taught how money actually works. You can work hard your entire life, earn a decent salary, do everything society tells you to do, and still end up financially stressed simply because you're playing the game without knowing the rules. And Buffett has warned for decades that this exact mistake is quietly destroying middle-class wealth. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Money punishes confusion and rewards clarity. If you don't understand interest, taxes, debt, and investing, money leaks out of your life in ways you never notice, not all at once. Slowly, silently, year after year. And by the time most people realize it, the damage is already done. That's why this matters so much in 2026, because the gap between people who understand money and people who don't is no longer small. It's massive, and it's growing. Let me ask you something. Can you explain what compound interest actually means? Do you know the difference between a 401k and a Roth IRA? Could you calculate whether leasing or buying a car makes more financial sense? If you hesitated on any of these questions, you're not alone. 78% of middle-class Americans admit they're not financially literate. And here's the scary part. That lack of knowledge is costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Money you're working hard for, but losing because nobody ever taught you how money actually works. I'm going to give you 8 small habits that will change this. Not in 5 years, not eventually. In 2026, these aren't huge life changes. You don't need to quit your job, move to a cheaper city, or eat ramen for a year. These are small, manageable habits that middle-class families can actually do. And if you implement all 8, by the end of 2026, you'll understand money better than 90% of your peers. You'll make smarter decisions. You'll avoid expensive mistakes, and you'll actually start building real wealth. Here's what makes me qualified to teach you this. I've spent 70 years studying how money works. I've watched thousands of middle-class families either build wealth or stay stuck, and the difference always comes down to financial literacy. The families who understand money thrive. The families who don't understand it struggle. It's that simple. So let's make you one of the families who thrives. Habit 1, read 1 personal finance book per quarter. I know you're busy. You've got work, kids, responsibilities. You don't have time to read, but here's the truth. You're reading stuff every single day. Social media, news articles, text messages. You're consuming content constantly. You're just not consuming content that makes you smarter about money. 4 books a year, that's it. 1 every 3 months, 12 weeks to read 1 book. That's less than 2 pages per day. You spend more time scrolling through Instagram. Start with the classics. The Millionaire Next Door by Thomas Stanley. The Simple Path to Wealth by J.L. Collins. Now pause for a moment and think about what was just said, because this is where most people mentally check out. Not because it's difficult, but because it's uncomfortable. It forces you to admit something most adults don't like to admit, that school didn't prepare you for real life with money. You were taught algebra, history, maybe even calculus, but not how interest compounds against you on credit cards, not how taxes quietly shape every paycheck, and not how small decisions today lock in your future for decades. Warren Buffett once said that risk comes from not knowing what you're doing. That applies perfectly here. The middle class doesn't fail because they take massive risks. They fail because they make thousands of small decisions without understanding the math behind them. They buy cars based on monthly payments instead of total cost. They invest based on fear instead of probability. They delay learning because everything seems good enough for now. And that delay is where wealth quietly dies. What makes these habits so powerful isn't that they're flashy. In fact, they're almost boring. And that's exactly why they work. Wealth is not built through dramatic moves. It's built through boring consistency applied over long periods of time. Buffett didn't get rich by chasing trends. He got rich by understanding fundamentals better than almost anyone else and sticking to them longer than anyone else was willing to. By the end of 2026, the people who commit to learning just a little more about money will be operating on a completely different level. They'll read a loan contract and immediately see the trap. They'll hear a too good to be true investment pitch and know exactly where the catch is. They'll understand why patience beats excitement and why simplicity beats complexity in almost every financial decision. And here's the part most people don't realize until it's too late. Financial literacy doesn't just give you more money, it gives you peace. It removes anxiety. It replaces fear with confidence. When you understand how money works, you stop reacting emotionally and start acting intentionally. You stop feeling behind and start feeling in control. This isn't about becoming rich overnight. It's about stopping the quiet losses that keep the middle class stuck. It's about making sure that the effort you put in every day actually turns into progress. Buffett's warning is clear. Ignoring these habits isn't neutral, it's expensive. And in a world where the rules of money are getting more complex, understanding them is no longer optional. So if you do nothing else this year, do this. Decide that 2026 is the year you stop guessing with money, the year you stop outsourcing your financial future to chance. Because the families who thrive aren't smarter, luckier, or more privileged, they're simply better informed. And that is a habit you can start today. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Seth. Your Money or Your Life by Vicki Robin. Each of these books will teach you concepts that schools never covered. You'll learn about index funds, tax-advantaged accounts, debt management, passive income strategies, knowledge that will literally make you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. And it costs you maybe $30 in a few hours spread across 3 months. Make it a habit. January, April, July, October. One book each of those months. Put it on your calendar. Treat it like a doctor's appointment you can't miss. Because in a way, it is. It's preventive care for your financial health. Habit 2, track every dollar you spend for 1 month each quarter. Most middle-class people have no idea where their money actually goes. They know the big expenses, rent or mortgage, car payment, insurance, but the other $2,000 that disappears every month, no clue. Subscriptions, they forgot about eating out more than they realized. Random Amazon purchases. It all adds up and it's invisible. Here's the habit. 1 month per quarter, track every single dollar. Not forever, just 1 month every 3 months, January, April, July, October. Use an app like Mint or Wine app. Or just use a simple spreadsheet. Every coffee, every grocery trip, every subscription, every impulse purchase, write it down, you'll be shocked. Ed, I guarantee it, you're spending way more on certain categories than you think. And here's the magic. Awareness creates change. Once you see that you're spending $300 a month eating out, you can decide if that's worth it to you. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, but at least you're making a conscious choice instead of wondering where all your money went. Do this 4 times. In 2026, after 4 tracking periods, you'll have a crystal clear picture of your spending patterns. You'll know exactly what you can cut without feeling deprived. You'll find money you didn't know you had. And you'll finally feel in control of your finances instead of wondering why there's never anything left at the end of the month. Habit 3, review your subscriptions and recurring charges every 3 months. The subscription economy is designed to drain your bank account slowly. $5 here, $15 there, $20 somewhere else. None of it feels significant, but it adds up to hundreds of dollars every single month. Money leaving your account automatically while you're not paying attention. Set a recurring calendar reminder for the first day of every quarter, January 1st, April 1st, July 1st, October 1st. On those days, log into your bank account and credit card accounts. Pull up the last 3 months of transactions. Look for anything that repeats monthly or annually. Streaming services you don't watch, gym memberships you don't use, app subscriptions you forgot about. Software you signed up for on a free trial and never canceled. Magazine subscriptions, Amazon Prime if you're not really using it. That meal kit service you use twice. Cloud storage for files you'll never look at again. Cancel ruthlessly. If you haven't used it in the last month, you don't need it. You can always resubscribe if you actually miss it. Spoiler, you won't miss 90% of what you cancel. And you'll immediately free up $100 to $300 per month. That's $1,200 to $3,600 per year. Money that should be going toward your financial goals instead of corporate profits. Habit 4, spend 15 minutes every Sunday reviewing your finances. 15 minutes every Sunday, that's it, not hours, not an overwhelming financial audit. Just 15 focused minutes where you check in with your money. Look at your checking account balance. Review your credit card charges from the past week. Check your savings and investment account balances. Look at any bills coming up in the next week. Make sure you're on track with your budget. Celebrate wins. Adjust if you overspend somewhere. This weekly habit creates financial awareness. You'll catch mistakes before they become problems. You'll notice unusual charges immediately. You'll see patterns in your spending. You'll feel connected to your money instead of avoiding it. And you'll make better decisions throughout the week because you actually know your current financial position. Most people avoid looking at their finances because it makes them anxious. But that anxiety comes from ignorance. When you know exactly where you stand, the anxiety goes away. Even if your financial situation isn't perfect, at least you're aware and making informed decisions. That beats being in the dark any day. Habit 5, learn one new financial concept every month. Financial literacy isn't built overnight. It's built one concept at a time. Your goal for 2026, learn 12 financial concepts, one per month. By December, you'll understand the fundamental building blocks of personal finance better than most adults. Here's your curriculum: compound interest and how it works for against you. February, the difference between good debt and bad debt, how credit scores are calculated and why they matter, what index funds are and why they're powerful for average investors, how 401k plans work and employer matching, Roth IRA versus traditional IRA. July, how taxes work and basic tax optimization strategies. August, the concept of net worth and how to calculate yours. September, what an emergency fund is and how much you need. October, basic insurance types and coverage you actually need. November, how inflation erodes purchasing power, dollar cost averaging, and why it matters. You don't need to become an expert on each topic. You just need to understand the basics well enough to make informed decisions. Watch a few YouTube videos, read a couple articles, listen to a podcast episode. 30 to 60 minutes of learning per month, that's totally doable for any middle-class family. And by the end of the year, you'll have a solid financial foundation. Habit 6, have a monthly money date with your partner or yourself. Money is the number one thing couples fight about. Why? Because they don't talk about it until there's a problem. Then it's emotional, stressful, and usually ends badly. The solution is simple. Schedule regular money conversations before problems arise. Once a month, sit down for 30 minutes with your partner or with yourself if you're single. Make it pleasant. Pour some wine or coffee. Order takeout. Don't make it a stressful meeting. Make it a collaborative planning session. Review the past month. What went well financially? What didn't? Are you on track with your goals? Do you need to adjust anything? Discuss any upcoming expenses. Plan for the next month. Make sure you're both on the same page about priorities. This habit removes the emotion from money conversations. It's just a regular check-in, like reviewing your calendar. Nothing is a surprise because you're talking about it before it becomes urgent. You're working together as a team instead of blaming each other when something goes wrong. If you're single, this is still valuable. Talk to yourself. Write in a journal. Process your financial situation regularly instead of ignoring it. You'll make better decisions.